Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my VCT Pacific Week 4 power rankings and predictions. I almost said Week 3, but yeah, it kind of is crazy that we're this far into the season already. It feels like Stage 1, I mean, it did kind of just start a couple weeks ago, but it felt like it started like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Like this is max Week 3, but I guess that is the case in EMEA. But for Pacific, I think we're definitely starting to figure out who some of these teams are. There's obviously a lot of inconsistent middle of the pack teams in Pacific, but that's been the case for probably these past 2 years, like in 2024 and 2025 so far. It's just been a lot of teams like that. So that makes these power rankings very interesting week to week. There's a lot of change. But I do think that this is the week that I've changed the least so far out of everything. So should be very interesting. If you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Really helps me out. As well as go check out my Twitter. Link is in the description. I do weekly player rankings on there. I barely got my Pacific ones out before this video. I took a while watching the games this week, but I did end up doing that. So all good there. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say, so let's get right into it. So we'll start off with this bottom tier here of teams that I think are kind of just upset teams, but nothing really more than that. Like probably not going to win anything, probably not going to make playoffs with any of these teams, but they are real teams that can win if you don't take them seriously. And we'll start with Team Secret, who have gotten some map wins here and there. They got one off Talon and one off T1 this week. I really don't care that they won a map off T1 though. They are still the worst team in Pacific in my eyes. Like T1 drops maps to literally everybody. They've done it in every single series in Pacific since they got stacks. So outside of the Nongshim series that they played the week before, but they dropped one to Zeta as well, who are going to be my next team. I just think these teams are the worst in Pacific. Zeta did not play quite as well as they did against Secret, against RRQ, but I do think they showed some nice stuff. I mean, they were winning at one point on Haven. I think they were also winning. Yeah, they had the leads on Split and on Haven at different points, but kind of just fell apart on their defense halves of both maps against RRQ. Honestly, I'm not a huge hater of Zeta. Like I think they have some talent on this team. Like I think Deps looked good at times. I think CLZ or Klus has looked good. The calling hasn't been amazing from Klus, but it's been decent, especially as of late. I think he is definitely a piece worth building around. The rest of the team hasn't been performing to a super high level, but like they haven't been bad by any means, any of the players. So I do enjoy watching the Zeta team at least. Like they're an interesting team to watch for me. Then I have DFM, the other Japanese team, who is also interesting to watch, but they're also just really bad. Like I think they would beat either of these two teams if they played in an individual game, strictly because they have more firepower than them. But Art, his IGLing is really bad. It was continued to be really bad this week. And I just think them losing all these games because the calling is so bad is kind of ruining these young players' confidence. You can really tell in this Gen G game that the confidence was just at an all-time low for all of the young players. Like the only guy taking fights is May, and May like is taking too many fights. He's trying to make hero plays because all these guys aren't confident enough to actually do things. So, not ideal. Also, like I mean, I was just looking at the stats on Lotus. Like I have the VLR page up. Fucking Art took more first duels than May in that game, which is crazy. But yeah, they just got slapped around by Gen G, and they've been getting slapped around pretty much the whole season, outside of the Paper Rex game, which I mean, they did play close with RRQ. Um, but yeah, I still think that there's potential with these young players, but they need new leadership structure. Maybe they've just been prepping the whole season to beat Paper Rex like they were at kickoff. I don't know why they would do that, but it was the case. So I don't know. But yeah, these are the bottom three teams. I think pretty clearly in Pacific. I think some people would have DFM lower. I just like the talent too much there. And then now teams in this what are you tier. I don't know exactly like there are teams that I don't know how to think about because part of me wants to like these teams, but they just haven't been doing anything to make me want to like them as of late. That'll start with global. Uh, I don't think they're bad. Like I don't think they're bad enough to be in this bottom tier. I think they should be able to make playoffs out of this group, but it will come down to this last week of the season against Paper X, I believe. Unless they do end up beating Gen G this week, which would be an amazing upset. Or I guess Paper X would also beat DFM, and that would be that would be a game to make playoffs pretty much between those two teams. So overall, I think this team does still have talent. They just it kind of if you watch the game against DFM, it feels like these last two games the needle has been turned down like 20% on all of the players and the calling. Like I still think Crystal's really good. I still think Udotan's really good. Um Patrick has been playing really poorly as of late. Kelly S hasn't been performing as an individual quite as much, but and the calling isn't quite there. Poppy has been a decent smokes player. I'm not gonna rip into Poppy too much. I think he's been fine, and he's been very impressive in other games. I just think this team's in kind of a weird spot right now. I really don't know what I would do with this global team. They're just kind of weird. And then the other team that I have in this tier is Paper X, moving up 2 spots this week. I like I get that they're not good, but they did take a map off Boom, and they had some very nice moments in these games. Um, like the roles are a lot better now with Patman in the team. I said that I would not believe until Patman came in, and now he's in, and I believe a little bit more. Jing's Brimstone looked insane on Fracture. And his Phoenix looked insane on Pearl. I mean, maybe not insane. His Phoenix looked good on Pearl, but the Ascent Omen still isn't great. I like everybody else on their roles. Like Patman's KO looked good. His Fade looked fine. His Breach looked okay, I guess. I wouldn't say that looked amazing, but something was insane on Jet. His Yoru wasn't great, but I'd like to see a bit more of it. Forsaken looked good on Vise, but the one guy that I'm surprised he wasn't out for Mind Freak was Devi, who his Astra was not good. I mean, obviously, Mind Freak's Astra would be better than Devi's. If you go to Ascent, his Vise, I mean, yeah, okay, Vise and Fracture, dude. Did I say Vise and Fracture? I meant Ascent and Fracture when he was playing Vise. He might actually be the worst side anchor I've ever seen in Tier 1. Like, if you watch Americas and you've watched Furia, you've seen Heat be a terrible side anchor. Devi was worse. Um, I don't know. His ability to stay on a site and like actually look in the correct direction was terrible on both maps. And then speaking of looking in the correct direction, he team flashed himself so many times on Vise, and it was just it was so bad to watch. I also thought Forsaken's Neon was a bit too high paced for my liking on Fracture. It kind of hurt everybody else's ability to support him a little bit more, but I think once Patman gets integrated into the team a little bit more, it should be easier for him to kind of support Forsaken on that duelist role in an easier way. Overall, I do feel better about Paper X, but I actually would not be shocked if they do more roster shuffling these last few weeks. Now on to our next tier of teams that I think are pretty good, solid teams, I would say. You could also say these teams are a little bit inconsistent, but that'll start with Nongshim, who this week, I think they played pretty well on Haven against Talon. Wouldn't say amazing, but I think their Haven looked really good. I was kind of surprised they didn't go in with the Breach, but I think everybody looked good on the roles that they played. Especially, I mean, obviously Danby on the Neon, Ivy on, or I thought Ivy on Sova looked really good. I don't know how much of that he's necessarily played this year, but when he did play it here, it looked good. The Lotus, I did not like this comp at all. They're trying to copy T1 by playing the ISO on Lotus, but Ivy, one, isn't good at it, and two, this just doesn't fit why this comp is played. They're trying to play T1's comp, but they're switching the Raze out, which is like the whole point of playing the ISO. Like, or part of the point of playing the ISO is the Raze, where you can like throw the nade in, and have it do double damage with the ISO vulnerable. But instead they're playing a Neon, which doesn't do any damage outside of shooting the people in the face. Then the Fade, which the entire point of playing the Sova in T1's comp was the shock darts and the ult, which then does double damage with IVs, or with ISO, I guess, with the vulnerable. But they're playing Fade, which also doesn't do any damage. Don't know why. So that was weird. That comp just didn't work. And then I think on Fracture they played fine. I just think Talon played an insane game on that map. They were awesome, and they have been awesome on that map. Which kind of transitioning into my next team, which is Talon. I think they played amazing on Fracture. Like, that was incredible. I don't know why this team isn't picking Fracture more. They played it against Secret. They picked it against Secret, 13-2'd them, and then decided not to play it against RRQ for whatever reason. So that was weird. Don't know exactly why they've been doing that, but they need to pick Fracture more. Like, also they picked Haven in this game and got rolled. I don't think they played particularly well on that map, but I don't think they played terribly. I think a lot of that was due to Nongshim playing well. But yeah, I think the individuals on this team look good still. They have for a while, and maybe it's starting to gel together a little bit, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's why they're not super high on this list. All right, next up in this team, or in this tier of teams that I think should be expecting to make top 3 and make it to Toronto. We got 3 teams here. That'll start with RRQ. I mean, I think this team's just really nice. Maybe I'm just buying into them again, like I have for a while, because I think this roster is good. I think Jemkin has been playing really, really well. I thought he was kind of disappointing last year, but this year he has been incredible and kind of that player I expected to be in Pacific last year. I don't know. I was saying that weird. I don't know what. I don't know why. But Cushy has also looked great, I think. He's been amazing. Crazy Guy has been a pretty solid individual and a decent caller. Also a nice flexible piece for them to play multiple different things. He's definitely been a better individual than Estrella. And the calling hasn't been that much worse. So I do think that is an upgrade for them. Monye has been nice. He can play a bunch of different stuff. I mean, his Yoru looked good as well. Allowed Jemkin to play the ISO, which looked good. Zephyro, I think, is just a solid Sentinel player and has looked good pretty much all season and for a few years now. I don't think he's like an elite player by any means, but he does look good. And then my big thing with this team is that they are playing very, very well into the meta, and they are very flexible. Maybe I'm just falling for it again with this team, because I have very much believed in this team for a while, and I stopped at the beginning, like for the beginning of this year, I'd say, up until now, like last week when I bumped them up here. But yeah, as long as they can, what? Why did my OBS freeze? Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna continue with this because that was going well. As long as there's nothing weird in the video afterwards, I'm just gonna continue with this. But that was weird. My OBS just entirely froze. But yeah, I just think this team's really nice. As long as they can close out games and be good in the high pressure games, they should be able to win. But that's why they're at the bottom of this tier, is that I am not fully confident in that. Then Gen G. The reason that they are moving down is because the other team above them is moving up. That's strictly it, because they looked really good against DFM. The best that they've looked all year. So I'm pretty confident this team can be good. They also brought back Foxy9 this week, and he looked amazing, specifically on Vise. I thought that was great. I don't really have much else to say, honestly. This team is just looking better. They look not quite the Gen G of old, but Ash has been looking better as well. So you love to see that. And yeah, as long as they play better this next week against Global, who I think are a bit more of a challenge than DFM, I think they should be looking to make Toronto. I almost forgot the name of it. I keep doing that. I'm gonna remember by the time it's like time for playoffs or whatever, but as for right now, I just can never remember what the names of the fucking events are. Then I have Boom moving up a spot, who I think finally I feel very good about what this team is. Famous is sick. NC Slasher is amazing. He played better as a fragger today, this past week. I thought he's been very nice for this team in terms of like supportive util and everything like that. The fragging has been here and there, but this game it was awesome. DOS9 actually had quite a game. So did Berserks, and this team was still able to win against Paper Rex. So that was great. I would like them to change their ascent comp up a little bit. I think Paper Rex was able to abuse the fact that they were playing Phoenix on that map. But the other maps I thought were amazing from them. Maybe not, but they were good from them. And I think this team should be the favorite for that third team to make Toronto behind our top two teams, which are DRX and T1. Honestly, I don't have much else to say about these teams. They're just really good. They are your top two teams in Pacific, and I could see maybe somebody sneaking Boom into that top three or top two, and maybe DRX over T1, but I wouldn't drop T1 below second, obviously, because just I don't think T1's been playing perfect Valorant by any means. Like, they haven't been as good as they were at Bangkok, but I did not expect that. I still think that they're the best team in Pacific and should be the team that is favored to win playoffs. But also at the same time, like, I do have some doubts about them on the international stage, but I just think they're too talented to lose to some of these teams in a regional capacity. All right, so now for my pick'ems. Last week I did pretty well. Went 5 out of 6. Just got the Talon Nongshim game wrong. Honestly, if I thought if I was going to get a game wrong, it probably would have been this Paper X Boom one, but also this one was pretty close in my head. So overall, feeling good about my pick'em so far. Only got one, or I guess I did get 2 wrong week 1, but up in this like top couple people or couple percentage wise, so that's good. But for this week, I think some of these games are pretty easy. Some of them are a little bit harder. We'll start with the easy one, Nongshim over Team Secret. We'll come back to this DRX Boom game because I want to talk about it a little bit more in depth. But I do think T1 will beat RRQ. I think this game should be pretty close, but overall, I think T1 is just the better team, and they'll be better at closing out this game. Gen.G over Global, pretty easy. Talon over Zeta, pretty easy. I do think that there is some upset potential for Zeta here, but not a ton. And then I am going to take Paper Rex over DFM just because I think DFM has been playing very badly, and I think Paper Rex should be able to match DFM's individual firepower and somehow call better than them, which is insane with a team that does not have an IGL. But yeah, coming back to this DRX Boom game, I thought about this for a while, and I really wasn't sure who to pick because part of me is like, I think Boom is improving throughout this split, and I think DRX is kind of staying the same, maybe getting a little bit better at the comps that they're playing overall, but they are kind of abusable. They're not the best double duelist comps that you can be running on a lot of these maps, and I'm going to pick Boom kind of just to say I believe in this team. Now, do I think Boom is favored in this matchup? No, I would probably go 55-45 towards DRX, but I'm going to pick Boom because I think they have a really, really good chance to win this game, and I just like Boom a lot. So these will be my picks for this week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.